one condition.
Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. Happy birthday edition to me. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are invited to the event of the year. And by that, I mean a dude talking about his birthday in movies in his underwear. But nevertheless, thank you for joining me once again. I missed you guys. It's been a few weeks. And with all that said, let me open up this delicious caffeinated beverage. Oh, that is the sound of magic. So thanks for joining me, guys. It does mean a lot. And there's no one I'd rather spend my birthday with besides my wife, my family, and my friends, except for you guys. You guys fill all those empty voids in my life, and I appreciate it more than you will ever know. So with all that said, I have a few updates I want to share with you. I want to talk about a few movies, and then we'll dive into your glorious questions in just a few seconds. And thank you guys for the birthday wishes already. So technically, my birthday starts tonight at midnight. We have 2 hours. So here's the plan. I figured we'd hang out, talk about movies for a few hours, and celebrate my birthday together at midnight. So that's the plan. And tomorrow, what I'm doing with my family, my wife, tomorrow is Wrestlemania Night 1. Now, I'm a wrestling nerd, okay? For some reason, jacked up dudes in baby oil wrestling each other with predetermined finishes. I love it. It's theatricality. It's live action stunt work. It's pure and unadulterated, and it doesn't apologize to anyone. So I've always been a fan of wrestling. So because it's WrestleMania tomorrow, and my birthday happens to fall on WrestleMania, it just feels like it was meant to be. So I'm having a WrestleMania-themed birthday. We have the lights, we have cupcakes, we have a ring that my wife made that we're putting the cupcakes in. It's legit stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I will take some pictures and I'll share those on Instagram. So look out for that if you want to. Quick update though, another quick update is last week I went to Hollywood for a Sony Bravia event. It was a good time. But I also, and most importantly, I made a Hollywood Flick Trip video. That's over on my main channel, The Flick Pick. The link is down below. Don't watch it now. Savor the flavor and check it out if you missed it. But I go to Amoeba Records and Music, which has a huge selection of physical media. There's hundreds of thousands of movies in this store. It's the most physical media I've seen in one place in years. So it sort of filled that empty void in my soul ever since Best Buy closed. Definitely check out the brand new Flick Trip video, Hollywood edition, over on the Flick Pick channel. And I also have some cool shots of the Sony event. It's a good time. I think you'll enjoy it if you like Flick Trip videos. I think some of you do. So look out for that video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We got Hayden in here. Happy birthday. Bobby Clark. Happy birthday. Cosborn. Oh, hi, Mark. Well, I'll take that as well. Nova Sonic says, happy birthday, buddy. Mine is on Sunday. Well, happy birthday to you too, man. Yeah, my birthday is April 19th. Yours is on 4/20. So congratulations on that. Double Y says, you did a real good thing for that boy, Tommy. Well, thank you. I'll do a Nick Nolte impression later. If I do it now, my voice will just give out, and it will be a very short live show. So, Cosborn says, leave some ladies for the rest of us, birthday boy. Oh, I know how the ladies like wrestling. All right. And then the Bookkeeper's Cottage says, happy birthday. Well, thank you guys so much for the happy birthday wishes. I do appreciate it more than you will ever know. It does make me feel warm and tingly inside. But without further ado, let's just dive into some of the topics I want to talk about very quickly. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to get them in now. We will get to them in just a few seconds. So the first thing I want to talk about here are some movies that I've watched over the last couple of weeks. I either didn't have time to talk about them or no one cares about them, so that's why I make a video. But I figured I'd savor all that flavor for the live show. That's what these are for. It's where I can talk about all the insignificant, minute things that I care about in one glorious place. So I watched a movie a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks at this point, called Drop. Now, this is from the director of Happy Death Day. He also wrote Disturbia, the 2007 Shia LaBeouf movie about being on house arrest and your neighbor coincidentally being some serial murderer. And for some odd reason, Disturbia has always stuck with me. I've always wanted to live in a situation where I, in fact, was stuck in that predicament. Call me crazy. It just looks like a good time. But anyway, as far as the movie Drop goes, I was highly entertained by it. I think it's a fun time. I thought the third act kind of fell apart a little bit. But it's a fun, carefree movie. It's a thriller film, and it was a nice throwback to 1990 movies where you don't get those too often these days, where you have this whodunit vibe. There's sort of a thrilling aspect to it. And then by the third act of the movie, the main character, she just turns into John McClane and it goes off the rails, but it felt self-aware. So I appreciated things like that. So if you haven't seen Drop, I don't know if you need to run out to the theater to check it out, but it's definitely a good rainy day movie at home. So those are my quick thoughts on Drop. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie Drop down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you even see it? It doesn't feel like anyone saw this movie. And the next thing I want to talk about, speaking of a movie no one saw, no one cares about, no one's talking about, and a movie that I forgot that I saw until just getting prepared for this live show a few hours ago, was a movie called The Amateur, starring Rami Malek, who played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. And The Amateur sort of feels like if Jason Bourne was slightly autistic and had some of the skill sets of MacGyver, but unfortunately, the movie just skims over all the interesting setups to where he's planning and doing these convoluted executions for the bad guys of the film because he's afraid to pull a trigger. But what he's not afraid of is making a bomb and blowing someone up. So that's The Amateur. I'm going to recommend you don't need to see this movie. If you never see The Amateur, you will miss nothing. The best way I can describe this as a movie is it feels like a better than average straight to DVD movie from 2010. That's the best way I can describe The Amateur. If you never see it, you didn't miss anything. I just thought it was kind of boring, to be honest. Good, cool concept, but execution, just like, I've already seen this before somewhere else. It just sort of fell flat. It was dull and flat. The next one I want to talk about is a movie that you should see, and I think seeing it in the theater was a really good experience. It was super immersive, and it put me on the edge of my seat. And that's A24's Warfare, directed by Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina. Quality movie, and it takes place in 2006. It's about this small group of dudes in the military, and they're stuck in one location. I think it's Iraq, right? I think it's Iraq or Afghanistan. I think it's Iraq or one of the two. And it's so intense. Now, it's based on a true story, and the sound design in this film is top notch. It gets super quiet at times, but when the explosions are happening and things are going off and there's gunfights in the background, it's intense. It does a really good job of putting you in the situation and sort of showing you the hell that war is. So I quite enjoyed it. Very simple story, but nevertheless, I think it's a really good experience. If you like war movies, those are very few and far between. And this is one I think you should definitely check out. And by the way, the other thing I was thinking of when it comes to Warfare was, keep in mind, this takes place in 2006. And that's the year I graduated high school. And I had some buddies who joined the military right around that time. And the way that these characters are portrayed is they're not 50-year-old dudes. They're not like Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. These are just like kids straight out of high school. And the way they talk and interact with each other felt so authentic to some of my friends I had in high school that the next year went off to Iraq or Afghanistan. So that sort of was relatable to me in a sense. I could imagine some of my buddies being in this situation. But it's super intense. And Joseph Quinn in the film, I think, gives one of the most standout performances. And so definitely check it out if you haven't already. So, and the last movie I want to talk about real quick before we dive into those questions is a little movie called Sinners that just came out, directed by Ryan Coogler. Now, I made a review for this just a few hours ago. Unfortunately, I have not had time to edit it yet, but I will edit it and I'll crap it out tomorrow on the Flick Pick channel, so look out for that. But when it comes to Sinners, going into this, there was a lot of buzz and hype on Rotten Tomatoes and the internet, and I almost didn't buy it because the trailers for this movie, I don't feel like do the movie any justice. The trailers for this show nothing, but what they do show is it just looks like a generic time period movie about some gangsters in the South. That's the vibe I get from it. And the truth is, it's so much more than that. This is a movie that has 50 genres at play. There's vampires, there's levity. It's very Tarantino-esque. And I'm not I haven't watched any interviews, and maybe he will never admit it, but if Ryan Coogler was not inspired by Tarantino's past films, especially something like From Dusk Till Dawn, I think someone's blatantly lying. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the coolest thing about Sinners was it felt like Tarantino-esque, but someone else's vision of that same sort of style. And I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect. I will say I enjoyed like 92% of the movie. There's like 8% of it that, gets a little choppy, and there's a few things I feel like they rush towards the third act. But nevertheless, it's a fun time. It really is. And the coolest thing about movies like Sinners, even though it's a 1930s time period movie, it sort of feels like it has new age type characters in it, even though it takes place in a different time period. So if you like movies like From Dusk Till Dawn or The Hateful Eight or Django Unchained, and you like that dark, stylized violence that Tarantino brings to his movies, I think you'll really enjoy Sinners. So I highly recommend checking it out. And like I said, I'll have a review for it out tomorrow. So those are the quick topics I wanted to talk about. Those are the updates. And without further ado, let's just dive into your questions, because that's what we're doing here. It's not about me. It's about you. Even though it's my birthday. So technically it's a little bit about me, but I'll take it. Anyway, okay. That was the saddest sound I've ever heard. All right, let's dive into it here. And the first question up comes from Mark Hickey. How's it going, Mark Hickey? And thank you for the generous question. You know what, Mark? I think what I'll do, every super chat over $20, I think we're going to do a party popper. I think it's the least I can do for you. So let's start it off with a bang. Here we go. Party popper number 1, baby. Oh, wait. It goes this way. Okay. You ready? Yay! That made a fucking mess. I'll clean that up later. Hopefully I get a vacuum for my birthday. All right. So and by the way, now I'm going to be covered in glitter. I'm going to look like a Nora after she left the strip club. All right. Here we go. First question from Mark Hickey. I watched Sinners in the cinema tonight, and I loved it. 5 stars from me. And I'm an Irishman, so when those vampires started Irish dancing and singing The Rocky Road to Dublin, I got damn nearly jumped out of my seat. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, the antagonists of the film are interesting. One of my complaints with Sinners, though, when it comes to the antagonists of the film, and I won't dive any deeper than that, no spoilers, I feel like I would have liked to learn a little bit more about their lore and what drives them and some of their backstory. But nevertheless, great movie. Glad you enjoyed it. And thanks for the question. Also, Mark Hickey says, also, happy birthday, John, and happy Wrestlemania weekend. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. It's I'm turning 38 years old, and it's weird because I don't even feel like I'm an adult yet, but yet I'm getting closer and closer to 40. It's a weird feeling. And that weird feeling comes with the urge and the desire and the dedication to mowing your yard and edging it and weed eating it. I'm looking forward to buying fertilizer with a gift card that my mother gave me to Lowe's so I can put it in my yard. That's right. I'm looking forward to buying shit so I can spread it in my yard and make my grass greener. That's the point where I'm at in life. But hey, let's talk about movies instead. All right, the next one, the Tater Master has just subscribed. Well, thanks, Tater Master. Thank you so much. James Dosher, who has been a member for 41 months. Thank you for that, man. Happy birthday, John. Hope you have a great birthday. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm hoping it's a good birthday. We're ordering some pizzas, making some hot wings. We're putting some vodka and Hawaiian blue punch. This should be an epic time. And then I'm going to have wrestling on in the background. Oh, I'm just going to lather myself in baby oil and eat cupcakes. I can't wait for it. Silvio says, love the show. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for watching. And by the way, guys, if you joined me for the last live show on this channel, it was about a week or two ago, and I shot that or filmed it while I was in Hollywood in my hotel room at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the reason I did that was, first of all, I wasn't tired. I was still a little bit hyped up from the earlier in the day. But yeah, I had to shoot it on my laptop. The camera looks kind of shitty. And I had to sort of whisper a little bit, because if I yell like I'm yelling now in my hotel room, which had paper thin walls where I could hear the guy beside me sneeze, I just didn't want to come across like an asshole screaming about, watching Nightcrawler. So if you watched it, my apologies for that. But hey, better than nothing, right? Akai Nai, how's it going, man? How are you? Happy birthday, John. Have a frozen pizza for me. Well, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for that. I will have a frozen pizza just for you. So thanks, man. Cool Keyboard Commando says, hey, John. Should I pick up an escort or play Xbox tonight after the live stream? Also, I get the feeling Cena wins this weekend. I'm getting that same tingle down below. If Cena doesn't win, are we really going to want to talk about or remember WrestleMania 41? I don't know. He needs to win that championship title. I'm just putting it out there. So I think Cena's probably winning, but how does he win it? Who shows up? I'm hoping Stone Cold shows up at one point in defense of Cody Rhodes, and The Rock just so happens to be in the ring at the same time. Just putting it out there. That's what I would like to see. But yeah, man, thank you so much for that. And as far as the first part of your question goes, my answer to you is, why not both? Just do both. Or do this, man. Call the escort, have them come over, and they can play like Rocket League or Warzone with you. That'd be a good time. All right. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, 38 looks good on you, John. Remember, it's not the years, it's the mileage. Oh, I tell myself that every day. Can I get a earlier happy birthday? Mine's on Wednesday. I'm turning 30. I'm scared and confused. I'm currently at a crossroads at what to do next in my life. By the way, I share a birthday with Cena. Well, that's cool, man. Is your birthday on the last day of April? My wife's birthday is May 1st, so I think yours is the day before. So early happy birthday to you, Skylar Wheelock. I hope you enjoy it, man. Have a good one. And as far as being at a crossroads in your life, I'm still at a crossroads in my life. I really am. But the thing is, you can always go down one road for a few miles, and if you don't like it, you just do a U-turn, come back to the crossroads, and go down another road. That's the great thing about life. You can always back up and go a different way, sometimes. But yeah, man, happy early birthday. Alejandro, how's it going? Happy birthday, John. I've been watching you since middle school. I'm now 24 and hope you've had a great day so far. I just want to let you know your whole online family is proud of you for being consistent lately. Keep posting. We notice the hard work. Well, thank you for that. I'm doing my best, It does get a little straining. And I know it's just sometimes you're just like, it's just a video. It's just whatever. But, like last night, I went to see Sinners. I put out like a quick reaction. I put out a Twitter review. I shared that shit on TikTok. And by the end of it, it's like, wow, 2 hours just went by. What happened? So I'm doing my best to stay as consistent as I possibly can. I do have a list of video ideas I'm working on right now. Some cool stuff. Maybe a really cool movie night in my backyard. I have a really awesome 20-foot inflatable screen that I pop up in my backyard. I light a bonfire and I use my projector. So I just might be watching like Avengers Endgame or something on it, maybe later this month, as soon as the weather gets just right. So look out for that. But thank you so much for that. Words of encouragement are always appreciated. So I do appreciate it. Thank you. All right. The next one comes from Cody Sunsiri, who says, "Happy birthday, you sexy MF." I'll take it. "I'm also currently delivering pizza with a homicidal rage listening to Huey Lewis in the news." Hey, you're talking to one guy who delivered pizzas for the better part of maybe 4 years, and it's a fun job. It really is. But I understand the homicidal rage. I truly do. And I always had this idea for a dark comedy about a pizza delivery driver who just so happens to be a sociopath. And I don't know. I always had that idea, and that formulated in my brain when I was delivering pizzas. Because just some of the people you encounter, the places you go, it's sort of a dangerous job. It really is. And you keep in mind, you're just delivering pizzas. But nevertheless, man, stay safe out there and enjoy Huey Lewis on the news. Thanks for that, man. All right. Juan Dowd says, "Happy birthday, Big John Stud. What do you think of the Fantastic Four and Accountant 2 trailers?" Well, good question. Let's talk about the brand new Accountant trailer. Actually, let's not talk about that because I don't even think I watched an Accountant 2 trailer. I'm kind of trying not to watch anything when it comes to that movie. I'll just watch it next week when it comes out. But when it comes to the, I'm looking forward to it though. I kind of am. I've heard mixed things on it. I've heard it's like okay, and the tone is very different from the first movie. Like Accountant 2 sort of goes into the buddy cop comedy vibe ever so slightly, which is interesting. But when it comes to the new Fantastic Four First Steps trailer, I put out an Instagram video breaking the trailer down, some of the things I liked and disliked about it. And by the way, you should follow me on Instagram. You know, I'm going to try to make more content over there. So the link to that's down below at the Flick Pick if you want to follow me. If not, it's okay too. But please follow me. That can be your birthday gift to me. Just follow me on Instagram. And also, like this video. That's all I'm asking. That's all I want. You don't got to buy me anything nice or shiny. Just like the video. That's all I'm saying. All right. But as far as the Fantastic Four trailer goes, this is a comic book movie I'm sort of actually looking forward to. And I like that it doesn't look like every other MCU movie. And that's what I've been saying for years. I wish each movie in the MCU had its own tone and its own style to stand apart from one another. They've all looked the same for like the last 15 years. So I really like that 1960s aesthetic in the Fantastic Four trailer. The more I see of the movie, the more I like it, which is a good thing. I like that Galactus is sort of like Galactus. He's giant. He's huge. Now, I understand he can be the size of a planet, but how the fuck do you film that? Okay, so you got to shrink him down just a little bit to make him a tangible villain to some degree. But that one scene where his giant mechanical boots just like walking through the streets of New York, I thought that was a cool shot. I think the Thing looks cool. I like when he lifted up the car to impress little kids, because I'll keep it real with you. If I had superpowers and I was a giant rock man, I would probably lift up cars to impress small children too. Call me crazy. That's what I would do with my powers. What else am I going to do? Fight people every day? No. I'm not about violence. I'm just about the spectacle. Okay? And we saw Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. He did a stretchy thing for like 3 frames in the trailer. And I still stand by this. Mr. Fantastic's powers and his skill set where he stretches, it's cool. But no matter how well you can CGI that effect, it always just looks goofy on screen. Like, and listen, I get it. Go for it by all means. But I feel like that's why they're limiting showing him doing much, because it just looks stupid. like if some dude's arm just stretches 50 feet, it looks weird. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it looks kind of goofy. But yeah, the trailer looked like a good time. And plus Joseph Quinn, Human Torch, I'm all for it. I will say this though. I have a very strong inkling that they're definitely going to have a Doctor Doom post-credit sequence to some degree. Something with Doctor Doom will definitely be in this movie. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just putting it out there. Also, the other thing I want to say about Fantastic Four First Steps, I also have a very strong feeling that Galactus wins this. I have a feeling he's going to destroy Earth and it's going to end on a downer. That's just a theory, just putting it out there. But would that be so bad? I'd like to see that. But then again, aren't we at a point with all the multiverse stuff going on where we have 5,000 different variations of Earth, where it's like, oh yeah, if one gets destroyed by Galactus, who cares? In the next movie, we'll just have another variation of Earth. Who cares about that one? So in a way, I don't mind if they do that, but then if everyone's disposable, then what really matters at that point anyway? So those are my thoughts on the Fantastic Four trailer. All right, the next one comes from here we go. All right, we got one from Skylar Wheelock once again, who says, genuinely, why did the richest man in Gotham City take his wife and only child to the hood for a movie and then walk down an alleyway thinking it'll be a leisurely stroll? Especially when Gotham was in a really bad state, almost like an economic depression of sorts, where people were violent and desperate at the time. But yeah, you're right. He went to a shitty part of town, and you know what? I think Thomas Wayne got what he deserved. I really do. If you're going to be that naive and inept to your surroundings, then fine. That's what you get. So I don't disagree with you. He was mildly incompetent, and his family paid the price. So, yeah, I don't disagree. All right, the next one comes from Gorilla Beach. I know how to read. Here we go. Happy birthday, John. Hope you have a good one. I watched Tremors the other day, and I still loved it. Opinions? And what movie did you buy at Amoeba? I didn't buy any movies at Amoeba. I just bought a Predator shirt. I was looking for a few movies, but there was nothing I really needed that day. And by the way, on a quick side note, when it comes to movies, I heard Nightcrawler might be getting a 4K release. So that's cool. I also still need to buy Over the Top on 4K. I think that just came out this month or recently somewhere. I think it's like an overseas release that I need to pick up. But as far as Tremors, I love me some Tremors. Always have, always will. You want the perfect midnight B movie that's just fun and entertaining? Tremors is that movie. It's a great summertime movie. Like, if I could think of one movie that would be a good time on like a summer evening to go watch at a drive-in theater, and I'm really setting the mood, aren't I? It would be something like Tremors. And keep in mind, the only reason Kevin Bacon made that movie was because he needed money at the time. No one thought that movie was going to be good, and it did pretty bad at the box office, but then it sort of found a cult following on VHS. And also, that's another reason that like physical media and rental stores were so pivotal to films, because even if it sucked at the theater and made no money and no one saw it, you knew it would have a second life at the rental store where people could discover it and spark up conversations and talk about the movie. And because of that, that's why people still remember and talk about Tremors. I digress, but nevertheless, I've always enjoyed Tremors. The sequels, not so much. All right, the next one comes from Bookkeeper's Cottage, who says, and thank you. Hey, we got to do one of these for this question, man. You ready for it? For a super chat like that, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Woo! All right. It feels good to pop things like that. All right, here we go, man. Bookkeeper's Cottage says, Happy birthday, John. I usually comment on YouTube, but I had a really weird day and figured, why not? I've been watching your show for years, and it's one of those few things I can count on to pull me back from the brink of insanity. Thank you. Well, thank you for that. And by the way, as much as this might pull you back from the brink of insanity, talking to my video camera and hanging out with you guys also does the exact same thing for me. I truly unleash in these live shows. There's no editing. There's no hiding behind jump cuts. You hear that? I'm not afraid anymore. And this is the place where you don't have to be afraid. Nothing is off limits. Okay? I want you guys to know that. Now give yourself a hug and a little kiss. Well, you can't kiss yourself on the cheek. Just give yourself a hug. That's all I ask. But thank you so much, man, for the question. And hopefully you don't lose your insanity. All right. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, can you eat a whole pizza by yourself in one sitting? And your favorite frozen pizza. So I can eat a frozen pizza by myself. I can if I'm starving, I'm hungry, and it's late enough. I can do it. Because frozen pizzas are smaller than normal sized pizzas. They're sort of like a medium small pizza, and they're very thin. So there's not as much there as you think there is. But I like DiGiorno. I like Tombstone. I like pepperoni. I like deluxe pizzas. But really, at the end of the day, as long as I have enough crushed red peppers to dump on that shit, it'll be delicious. You give me a Coke Zero or a Sprite Zero, and I'm going to devour it. And sometimes, if I'm feeling extra frisky, I've found that pizza, especially frozen pizza, tastes better if you Chicago cut it, where you cut it into squares. For some odd reason, sometimes pizza tastes better when you do that. Am I the only one? Let me know down below. All right, let's go to the next one here. Mila MS says, favorite pizza delivery story. Oh, God, where do I start with that? I'll just share a couple of them real quick. I don't know if these are my favorite. I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of, but there was a few where I was on the edge of my seat, to say the least. So one of them, I took an order. It was like the first week I worked there. I took an order to a very shady part of town, to this apartment complex where it looked like sort of like the apartment complex in Menace to Society. And I went into this apartment, right, in a place that we actually don't deliver to. And the reason being is a year before that, one of the delivery drivers went there. He parked his car, walked up to the door, came back. His car was stolen, and they found it in a river 3 days later. So going back to my story, I go to this apartment, I knock on the door, there's like smoke just like resonating from the cracks of the door, right? And there's like 50 dudes in this apartment, and they're like playing dice, they're gambling. It's just like not a place I should be, but nevertheless, they invite me in and I went in. I'm not afraid. Though I was, but you'll never know it. The thing about me is no matter how afraid I am, my hands never shake. So I walk in and there's like 50 dudes. They're looking me up and down. It's just like, it's not a good scene. So I hand them their pizzas. Of course, I did not get a tip, but I'm glad I just didn't get stabbed. Okay. The tip was leaving alive. So yeah, I walked out backwards out of the door and sort of jogged to my car. And I told myself, oh, I'm never coming here again. And I never did. So that was a cool pizza delivery story. Another one was an attempted robbery. I went to this crackhead motel. I just call it Meth Head Motel. And I knock on the door. And I'm always looking at my surroundings. And I always carried like a pocket knife because I'm ready to cut someone's throat if they try to wrong me. Just, I don't want to come to that situation, but I will. And this lady opens the door. She's all cracked out. She's like this. She's screaming. She's like, come in. My baby's cold. My baby's cold. I'm like, oh, yeah? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, where's the baby? She's like, over there. And I'm like, that's just a pile of clothes on your bed. And then I looked through the crack of the door that was open like this, and I could see the eyes of a guy behind it looking at me. So they wanted me to come in the room so they could rob me. So I pretty much just said, yeah, I'm good. And then I was like, I'll keep your pizza, though. Don't worry about it. So I took her pizza back with me. That's her punishment. You try to rob me, you don't get your pineapple pizza. Those are a few delivery stories. All right. The next one comes from Jesus Salcido, who says, "Happy birthday, John. Mine is 4/26. I turned 25. Well, happy early birthday to you, Jesus, man. I hope it's a good one, man. So thank you for joining me. Everyone's birthday is in April, I swear. Jay Flicks says, happy birthday, friend. Well, thanks, Jay Flicks. Thank you for that. Skylar Wheelock back again says, if you could teach an entire class on one movie scene, what would it be? If you could teach an entire class on one movie scene? You know, that's such a great question. I'm trying to think of like a solid one take scene, but oh man, I don't know. I don't know what scene I would pick. There's so many. That would take some thought. That would take some introspective thought. It really would. But the one I would go to is, can we narrow it down just a little bit? Like, if I wanted to show a class on filmmakers about how to like direct action, for example, I would just make them watch T2 Judgment Day. Or if I wanted to show them how to make a thrilling chase sequence, I would show them something like, you could also show them T2 Judgment Day, but I would show them something like the foot chase sequence in Point Break from 1991, where Patrick Swayze throws a dog at Keanu Reeves, and it's glorious. But I'm trying to think of like a really good sit down, like, I don't know, you could say something like the scene in Heat between Pacino and De Niro in that diner, right? Where you have these two iconic actors just sitting down eye to eye with one another. I think that'd be kind of a cool scene, but that's a great question for you guys watching right now. What would be an iconic movie scene that you feel like film students should watch at least once? I'm just naming action movie scenes off the top of my head, but I know there's like I'm sure the scene from Casablanca where it's that one take shot that goes through the ceiling. You could show them, I don't know, fucking Wizard of Oz. I don't know. Where do you even start with that? Let me know what scene you guys would pick down below. And I'll answer a few more questions and I'll read your comments on it. Oh, we got another one here. We got one from the Movie Guy. How's it going, Movie Guy? And let's start your question out with a bang. Here we go. Because you such a generous super chat, we got to do it. And by the way, I think I have like 4 more party poppers left. So you guys are too nice to me. Here we go. It's going to be fun to clean this shit up tomorrow. But we'll worry about that tomorrow. Here it goes. The Movie Guy says, I heard you say you graduated in 2006. I also graduated that year. Can you believe our 20th anniversary is next year? Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I went to my my 15-year anniversary of high school, and I don't know, it was sort of okay, but it was mildly depressing and sad at the same time. And there was one kid I went to high school with. I won't name him. He was always a nice kid, a little kooky to say the least. But he showed up to the high school reunion wearing vampire teeth. I shit you not. And that's the high school I went to, okay? But let's continue the question here. It reminds me of the Ferris Bueller quote, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. Dude, there was a month ago where I was sort of having a bad day. Maybe we can call it seasonal depression, if you will. But sometimes when I'm having days like that, I watch movies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I watch that movie specifically because maybe I was having a midlife crisis. I'm not quite sure. But that movie always is so relatable to me because if I could live, and someone asked me this before, and this is not the answer I gave, but it's the answer I should have given. If I could live in any movie universe, it wouldn't be Star Wars. It wouldn't be, I don't know, what Terminator. It would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Because I've always related to the character Ferris Bueller. Ever since I was a stupid little kid, I always bought what he was selling me. And his outlook on life is something I've always carried with me. And that exact quote is something I live by. It truly is. And it's because of that, I'll never truly grow up. And I'm okay with that. I can live with that. Because when you get old, you stop and you die. Who wants to do that? Not me. I want to steal my friend's Ferrari and go to the Willis Tower and go to a baseball game. And then have a guy who was convicted of some heinous crimes try to ruin my day off. Not today, Mr. Rooney. Not today. But I agree with that motto more than you will ever know, man. So thank you for the question, and I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Let's see what you guys said. Which movie scene should be taught to kids in film school? And we got one here. Crunch Butt Steak says, my girlfriend says, happy birthday, John. Well, thank you for that, Crunch Butt Steak. T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park. Hey, great scene. The apartment scene in Pulp Fiction. Just about any scene in Pulp Fiction, I feel like it should be shown in film school. You have the opening scene in Scream. Good if you want some suspense. Star Wars Luke blasting the Death Star. Okay, iconic scene. The prisoner's car scene. The car scene. Which was the car scene? I remember Prisoners quite vividly. Which car scene are you talking about where they move the car in the front yard with the suspense and Jake Gyllenhaal? That was good. Billy Madison bag of poop scene. He going to shit poop. You know what? I agree with that. Billy passed the 1st grade. Oh, what a glorious day. Chlorophyll, more like borophyll. Okay, we'll go with that. Social Native says, John's high school reunion almost turned into Sinners. It almost did. I wish it would have. Gorilla Beach says, the Pigeon Lady and Kevin McAllister chat scene. Or where he gives her turtle doves and goes back into his warm hotel room to leave her out in the cold to smell like pigeon shit. Yeah, that'd be a great scene on how not to have any humanity in your movie. But then again, I would have done the exact same thing. Toy Story, the CGI still holds. Dude, I'll be honest with you, I still quite enjoy the CG in Toy Story from 1995. But damn, you can go back and watch it. It's so limited at times, but I almost enjoy the charm of its capabilities. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... It's going to come from Yursor, who says... Yursor. I just got laser eye surgery, and for a week, I was in a dark room with no TV. Just your live shows on audio. Thank you for helping me get through. Well, man, thank you so much for that. That's the kind of shit I love hearing. You know, sometimes I feel like some people that make content on YouTube sort of forget that people are actually watching it. And it's always a nice feeling. It really is. So I love hearing stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I like hearing because it kind of makes me want to keep making videos. It does. I always enjoy when people watch your stuff and it makes your day even minutely slightly better. And so that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for that. Hope you're doing well with your eye surgery. I almost had eye surgery a couple years ago, and I didn't necessarily need it at the time. But yeah, my eyes would have been pretty fucked up for about a week. So I would have been listening to audiobooks or podcasts. So, hey, man, thanks for listening, and I'm glad I could help you out just a little bit. By the way, on a side note, me and my wife and I have been listening to the audiobook of Hail Mary from the same guy who wrote The Martian, because they're making Hail Mary into a movie next year starring Ryan Gosling, who is also coincidentally in another sci-fi film, the new Star Wars movie. So cool. But yeah, I'm into the book so far. But the point is, that's what we do every night. I turn off the lights. I have a galaxy projector. I eject it onto the ceiling above. I take some melatonin, maybe a little bit too much, but I want to put myself into a coma. And we just listen to the audiobook. It's a glorious time. So, little insight to what I've been up to. All right. The next one comes from the movie guy who says, happy birthday, John. I watched Mars Attacks last night for the first time in years. Such a great movie. Have you ever seen it? Jack Nicholson must have had so much energy and so much fun making it. I think they paid him a shit ton of money for that movie as well. Also directed by Tim Burton, who also directed Batman 1989 starring Jack Nicholson. So that's my connection. I never was a huge fan of Mars Attacks. Now, keep in mind, I probably have not watched the movie since like 1999, but I'll tell you, and it's weird because I tell you guys this all the time. I can always remember what was happening in my life at the point when I watched a movie for the first time or went to the theater. It's like the bullet points of my life, and that's how I break it down. Maybe that's my autistic way of remembering things. I'm not quite sure. But when it comes to Mars Attacks, I vividly remember this. It was on HBO back in like 1990s, we'll say 1996 or 7. And this story gets a bit dark. Not too dark, though. I was over at a friend's house earlier in the day, and my friend had a pocket knife. And he was in a group of a couple of my other friends, and I walked up and I went to like surprise him and tap him on the back, and he turned around with a pocket knife and he cut me on the top of my wrist right here, not the bottom, or else I would have bled out and died. He cut me on the top of my wrist, and I still have a slight scar right there from it. So fuck you, Colt, for cutting me with your stupid pocket knife. But anyway, I had to go to the hospital after that and get like 7 staples in my arm. It was so gross. I hated every second of it. And I got a bandage on my arm, and after the hospital visit, we stopped at McDonald's, got a milkshake, went home, and I remember walking into my house just thinking, man, that was such a terrible day. But I was sipping on my milkshake, and the movie that was playing in the background was Mars Attacks. And maybe the situation that I just went through, the trauma that I had just experienced as a 9 or 10-year-old kid didn't add to the experience of watching the movie, but I remember thinking, God, this movie sucks. So that's my thoughts on Mars Attacks. But I also remember, what was it? It was like the lady legs with the little chihuahua head on it. Just bizarre shit. Anyway, let's go to the next question. Skylar Wheelock says, name an actor you'd like to see play against type. I mean, hey, having The Rock play anything else besides The Rock would be pretty cool. I'm trying to think of an actor who could completely go against type. You know, I would like to see Tom Cruise do a little something different. Now, don't get me wrong. Tom Cruise has played like the badass bad guy in Collateral, which I think is one of his best performances. But I always enjoy when Tom Cruise doesn't play the good guy or the guy who's good at everything in a movie. I would like to see him play a much more subdued character. But then again, he has sort of done that throughout his career, hasn't he? Yeah, maybe that's not the best choice. I don't know. Let's go with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, maybe he could play, I don't know, like, I don't know. Maybe he could play a nerdy guy who likes video games or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody else who could go against type. Gosh, I don't know. Can we just go with that? I want to watch Arnold play Rocket League. That's what I want to see him do. And he's just a dude. He's an old guy playing video games. What movie is that? I don't know. Makano says, Sarah Jessica Parker as a dog. Sarah Jessica Parker could play a foot. Just a foot that walks around and talks. Cruise's best performance in Andrew Tate guy from Magnolia, Uncanny. Oh, if you've never seen Tom Cruise's performance in the movie Magnolia, definitely check it out. It's like the best part about the movie. If you just want to watch clips of it on YouTube, do that. But he plays this sort of like con artist, salesman type character, sort of like the dude on YouTube named Alpha Male who gives you like dating advice. So if you want to wet her muffin, do these 5 easy steps. He plays like a cheesy shithead, you know? So yeah, it was a good role. Dudes like Mark Wahlberg and Jason Bateman always play themselves. They kind of do. They really do. But then again, that's why you cast them in roles. You want their personality. They don't need to play a different character. The reason you cast people that have that much charisma that stand out is because they have that charisma and they stand out, right? Liam Neeson, yeah, he's sort of going against the grain in the new Naked Gun movie, isn't he? A little bit. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock once again, who says, rank these 4 characters by the best to worst swordsman. That is the most bizarre question of the night, but I'll do my best. Achilles of Troy, Jaime Lannister, Aragon, and Maximus Decimus Meridius. I would probably say Achilles in Troy, played by Brad Pitt, is probably the best swordsman there is. And the only reason he lost that battle is because Orlando Bloom had a whole bunch of arrows. And one of those coincidentally went through his Achilles heel. So I think when it comes to swordsman, I'm gonna give it to Brad Pitt and Troy. Then I'd probably go with Maximus Decimus Meridius. I don't remember Aragon or what he did, so I'll put him dead last. And before Jaime Lannister got his hand cut off, he was a pretty damn good swordsman, wasn't he? So I'll go with that. But Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones was an even better swordsman, except he got too cocky and the mountain crushed his fucking head. By the way, you guys watching The Last of Us Season 2? Okay. Brandon Roberts says, ever been to Grand Rapids, Michigan? I have been there, I think once, a very long time ago. Just once. But I didn't do anything of note while I was there. But I have been there. All right. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock once again, man. You're killing it tonight. When the word versatile comes up, which actor do you think of first? Oh, probably Christian Bale. I mean, the guy can lose 100 pounds or gain 100 pounds. He can play Dick Cheney. He can play Batman. He can play some guy who accidentally killed a kid with his car and he hasn't eaten in over a year and his best friend's a hooker. Christian Bale always comes to mind. Leonardo DiCaprio is another one that comes to mind as versatile. Those are a few. Yeah, we'll go with those. I'll go with those. I think those are 2 solid choices. The movie guy says, seems like there's a lot of birthdays this weekend. I'm 37 on Monday. Well, happy early birthday to you too, man. Anyway, happy birthday to everyone. Keep up the great work, John. Well, thanks, movie guy. Thank you so much. Yeah, it seems like everyone watching right now has a birthday in the next 3 weeks. So happy birthday to us. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Mild for Rapper. Mild for Rapper? Here it goes. Hey, John. Last year, I got my first full-time job as a mailman, and there's a lot of walking, so I listen to your live streams while walking through the day and love it. I've lost 40 pounds over the past year to the walking, so hell yeah. Love you, my dude. Well, I love you too, and I'm glad I could help burn off those carbs, baby, while you perform, I would say, a great service. So thank you. Delivering mail that's a tough fucking job. I can't imagine doing that in the summertime on a 95-degree day. So my salutes to you, my good sir. But hey, thanks for listening. I'm glad you can perform a service and listen to my stupid voice. So thank you for that. Martin Valuix says, happy birthday, Johnny Hardnips. Hope you're good. Let me do a little... You can't see it. I'm flexing them right now. But they are hard. Just for you, man. But thank you for that. Leo B has become a member. So thank you, Leo B, for becoming a member, man. And Leo B has a question here who says, hey, John. Hope all is good. What match do you think will steal the show at WrestleMania? Greetings from Texas. Which match do I think will steal the show? Well, I'm watching night 1 tomorrow, obviously. On that card, I'm sort of looking forward to the Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton match because I like how there's some like angst between them in reality, or maybe there isn't. But I think that'll be like a really good women's match. But on the second night, I'm obviously looking forward to the main event and to see the spectacle that goes down. But I think the match that I'm looking forward to when it just comes to like wrestlers kicking each other's asses and not pulling any punches is going to be the Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match between Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, who's probably going to get pinned. You have Dominic Mysterio, who I have a feeling will win the Intercontinental Championship tomorrow night. And then you have Penta in that match, who has like the coolest entrance in WWE right now. So I'm looking forward to that match because I think that'll be like the workhorse match of dudes just putting on the best wrestling match they possibly can. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that Fatal 4-Way match quite a bit. So I think that's the one that's going to maybe be the sleeper hit of WrestleMania, or at least I hope it is. But there's some other good matches. There's some matches that I'm not looking forward to all that much, like the tag team matches. I'm like, I don't really care. But nevertheless, man, I love the spectacle of it all. And as soon as this live stream's done, I'm going to go run and take a shower and watch SmackDown. So I'm looking forward to that. But hey, I just wanted to celebrate, my birthday evening with you guys. And we're about 1 hour away, so we can celebrate it together. I might have to grab another party popper, though. All right. Let's go to the next one here. I hate Minions. And by the way, speaking of Minions, I've never once seen a Minions movie. And I hope never to see it. Even if I have kids. It's like, if they want to watch the Minions movie, I'll lock them in their room and they can watch it by themselves. But I want to show them like quality movies. Like we can watch Toy Story. We can watch Toy Story 2. We can watch How to Train Your Dragon. We can watch The Sword in the Stone. We can watch Aladdin. But we will not watch Minions. We will not watch Trolls because I want to develop a taste of film in them at a young age. Or instill some film taste. Anyway, what am I talking about? I don't know. Let's go to this question. What was the question? Here it is. Okay. I Hate Minions says, bit of a changed question or charged question. What do you think of Jonathan Majors? Personally, I think he should be allowed to work again since there are so many actors who have done the same and are still working. And my software keeps bugging out. Sorry. And are still working, and his abuse wasn't related to his industry, his industry power. That's a great question. I think it's really up to whoever wants to hire him can hire him. I think he's a damn good actor. I really do. And I think Magazine Dreams, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. And it sort of had Nightcrawler vibes to it. And it is also produced by Dan Gilroy, who wrote and directed Nightcrawler. But Magazine Dreams was probably one of my favorite movies of this year, even though it technically was made like 2 years ago and they put it on a shelf. But as far as like the controversy around him, listen, domestic disturbance or domestic violence, at the end of the day, you were found guilty of it. And if someone wants to hire you, that's up to them. I don't think anything should be a guarantee in life. Do I think it's like a crime that, you can't overcome one day? I don't know. Maybe. I don't, people can change, I suppose. But I don't know, man. I think he's a good actor, but I think it's, it's up to the casting agent if they want to hire him or not, based on his controversy. And the thing about Hollywood, it's a business, and name recognition matters, and what's attached to your name matters even more. So I think in like 3-4 years, maybe the negative negative perception attached to his name will maybe fade away, and he'll do some art house films, and then maybe Hollywood will give him a second chance, because that's the thing about Hollywood. You can always get a second chance as long as you didn't do anything unspeakable. You know what I mean? There's like some unspeakable crimes you cannot commit and come back from that, even though some people in Hollywood have and still commit those crimes. And I'm talking about the director of Powder and Jeepers Creepers. He got a second chance, and I don't think he deserved it. But anyway, what was the question again? Oh, yes. But anyway, I quite enjoyed Magazine Dreams. But here's my take on it. I can usually separate the art from the artist. I just watch the story and sort of mitigate the backstory that or the baggage that comes with certain actors. So that's my answer. All right. Hiram Lovonis says, where is the chase and how do I cut to it? Where is the chase and how do I cut to it? What does that mean? Where's the chase? What does that mean? Tell me what that means. Tell me in the normal comment section if you want to, man. I'm not quite sure how to answer your question. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. All right, we got one here from Mario. Mario, thank you for the generous question. I might, dude, I got to get another party. I'm out of fucking party poppers. You guys want to hang? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. If you guys need to refill some more ice cubes, no more than 3, go grab those now. I'm going to be right back in like 5 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. All right. I told you guys, I made a promise to you. Every super chat over a certain threshold, I will do this. I am making a mess in my room, but I don't care. It's my birthday and I don't care. All right, here it goes, man. Mario, this is for you. Let's do it here. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. I was going to save that for my OnlyFans, but just for you guys. Just for you guys. Whew. I'm a little winded after that. I got glitter on my hands. All right. Here it goes. All right. Happy birthday, John. Huge fan of the channel. I've been watching you since 2015. Your fantastic Fan 4-Stick review. Keep up the great videos. Oh, and one last thing. I never said thank you. And you'll never have to. You'll never have to. Ever. I don't need thank yous. I don't even need accreditation. Though I like it and I appreciate it, and it does make me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life, I simply just ask you to watch the shit I'm putting out on the internet occasionally. You can't watch all of it, but just watch the ones that matter to you. And if you want, give that shit a like, because that really does help that algorithm. But thank you, Mario. Thank you for the question, man. And my Fantastic Four review from 2015 is the biggest and veiniest I think I've ever looked on YouTube. And plus, I was pissed off. You know, something about that movie just went into my soul, and it was everything wrong with cinema. And it still is. What a piece of shit movie. And I hope it's burning in hell for its sins against humanity. But yeah, if you want to see Jacked Up Flick Pick, watch that review from 2015. It's a good time. Just Cash Out says, hey, happy birthday, John. Thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow? Truly one of the most underrated movies of all time that has found a cult following. There's been sequel talk for years, and the fact that somebody has not obtained the rights to make a sequel for that movie is just like, what's going on? I believe Tom Cruise said he wants to do it. And it's like you have all these different studios, you have all this money flying around, and every time I see a crappy Netflix movie that costs $597 million starring Gal Gadot and The Rock, I'm just thinking to myself, why did you make this substandard movie no one cares about, no one's going to talk about 5 minutes after they watch it, and really, when it comes to this movie, it's just background noise as people scroll on TikTok or do other things. And I think to myself, why doesn't someone obtain the rights to movies like Edge of Tomorrow and make an epic sequel to that movie? So I love it. I've always loved it, and I've loved it since the first time I watched it. And plus, I think, do I own that on 4K? Is it out on 4K? Do I own it? I think I own it on 4K. If it exists on 4K, I own it on 4K. If it's not, then please forgive me. All right, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, once again, who says, what's a plot twist that is so bad it ruins the entire movie? Oh, man, that's a good question. You're asking me some questions where it sometimes takes a little more thought, and I don't have it on the tip top of my brain to talk about, so let me Google this. I can tell you some good plot twist. But the bad ones, I just sort of remove from my brain capacity. It's like my brain's a hard drive, right? It can only obtain and remember so much information. And some of that shit that doesn't matter, I put into the recycling bin. So anyway. Well, I guess Google said it's the twist where it's all a dream. Yeah, those are sort of a lazy twist, but I'm looking here. You know, the one that's on this list is a bad plot twist for a movie. And by the way, that's a good question for you guys in the comments right now. What is a bad plot twist that ruined a movie? Let me know that in the comments right now. I will read some of those. But on this list, it says The Village from 2004. I actually didn't hate that plot twist. I didn't hate it. I just didn't. Oh, what was that movie that just came out last year where it's sort of like The Village? It takes place in the woods and everyone's standing. It's directed by M. Night Shyamalan's untalented daughter. It's like The Watchers or some shit like that. That was a terrible plot twist, whatever that was called. Let's see, what else is on this list? Someone said the plot twist in Identity was a bad plot twist. I think it's sort of underwhelming that it was all in just some crazy guy's mind. I think that was a bit underwhelming of a plot twist, but I don't necessarily hate it. Here's a good one. Also speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, Glass. The plot twist of Glass. Yeah, that sucked ass. Bruce Willis dies in a mud puddle, and then you have this secret organization of people that just feel so tacked in where it's like, well, that undermined everything that came before it. This list said Saw 2004. That is a terrible take. That's one of the best twists of all times, in my opinion. So yeah, let me know some of your worst plot twist of all time. Oh, well, basically everything relates to M. Night Shyamalan when it comes to this. He either makes the best or the worst plot twist, right? Larry Chu says Hitchcock. Yeah. We got one here from Hayden who says Old. The Watchers, Signs with the Water. Yeah. The plot twist in The Game. Yeah, the movie The Game, directed by David Fincher, I could not buy that plot twist. I just couldn't buy how much convoluted shit happened before that, and I just wasn't buying what they were trying to sell me. I think it's interesting, and maybe something like that would have worked for like an episode of Black Mirror or something along those lines, but as far as a feature-length movie, it was hard to buy into that. I do agree with that. So yeah, those are a few. I think we answered the question there in a roundabout way. And also, Skylar Wheelock says, what's the most stressful movie you've ever seen? Well, I'll name a few recent ones. Watching the movie Warfare from A24, which just came out a couple weeks ago, that will put you on the edge of your seat, and that's pretty stressful to watch. Because you just hear dudes that had their legs blown off screaming in the background for half of the movie. The sound design is just so like unsettling. Another movie that I find super unsettling is Requiem for a Dream. A movie that I feel like everyone should watch at least once, especially for Jennifer Connelly in that movie. Great, great, great scene that'll make you never want to do heroin. Anyway, that entire movie is just so unsettling. The sounds, the high-pitched squeals. Wait, how does it go? I don't remember how it goes. I'm slightly tone deaf. But that entire ending climax where you see like Marlon Wayans in prison making mashed potatoes and puking in them, and you see Jennifer Connelly going ass to ass, and you see like the one lady getting shock treatment therapy. Just the culmination of all those sequences back to back was so gross and unsettling to me. So I'd go with that. I'm sure there's a lot of other movies out there. But yeah, let me ask you guys this. What is the most unsettling movie you've ever watched? Oh, how about the Willem Dafoe movie Antichrist? And what was the other one I just watched? Oh God, what's the name of that? It's like a Czech Republic film. It's like considered the worst movie of all time. Or not worse, but like the most unhinged movie that's morbid. That relates to necrophilia. Anyway, I just got demonetized. You guys know what I'm talking. I just watched it for the first time a couple months ago. Somebody help me out in the comment section. It's like morbid and dark. where a guy is hired to do adult films, but he has to do the unspeakable in those. I have not watched Martyrs yet. Yeah, a Serbian film. Yeah, a Serbian film. That's it. Jesus. Yeah, that's pretty unsettling. So don't watch that on a family movie night. I'll be honest with you, dude. I had to like kind of skim through it just ever so slightly. But I did watch it. And the other thing about a Serbian film is you could only really find like edited versions of it. Anyway. The next one comes from TJ McIntyre, who says, thoughts on Everybody Wants Some best hang movie. Everybody wants some. Everybody wants some movie. For some reason, that's not clicking with me. Oh, I've seen part of this. It's from Richard Linklater. You know, the thing is, I'll keep it real with you. I didn't watch the entire movie. I watched like the first act of it. Because when it comes to Richard Linklater, I always compare everything to Dazed and Confused. And to me, that's the ultimate hangout movie of all time. And it kind of felt like a parody of that. It sort of felt like a more disingenuous version of Dazed and Confused for me. And maybe it gets better. Maybe I watched it on the wrong day at the wrong time. I couldn't tell you. But for me, the best hangout movie of all time is Dazed and Confused. That's definitely one of them. And I'll tell you the most underrated hangout movie of all time is Detroit Rock City. I think that's a really underrated comedy road trip movie. Quite enjoy it. GF Hostman says, kids are disturbing. Yeah, that movie is pretty disturbing. Social Native says The Substance. Yeah, I showed a couple of my best friends the movie The Substance a few weeks ago, and they loved everything about it, or at least liked everything about it, until the third act where it goes off the rails. So I kind of had to like, I don't know. I felt like I had to explain the movie. Bruce Cook says, most unsettling movie, Human Centipede. Yeah. That's a movie you cannot watch and eat at the same time. Juan Dowd says, you said Penn Balor. He does take a ton of pins. Well, yeah, that's why I said Penn Balor. That's what I call him. Because he gets pinned in every single match. But then again, maybe he'll win the championship that night. Who knows? But I'm hoping Dominic Mysterio wins it. For all the wrong reasons. All right, we got one here from the movie guy who says, hey, John, I think you know the answer, but what James Cameron sequel is superior to the original? Aliens or Terminator Judgment Day? As much as I love T2, I think Aliens takes the cake. Dude, well, you got to hear me out for a second with that. And this is complete biasness, but... And you also have to remember, when it comes to Alien and the first Terminator, they both have darker tones than their sequels, right? Like the first Alien is very slow. It's a slow burn. It's almost film noir in a way to me, you know, and Aliens is an action sci-fi movie. And that's sort of exactly what T2 is. It's a big action spectacle. And the first Terminator is sort of like this almost like a horror film where the slasher is unstoppable. He's like Jason Voorhees coming after you. So it's a tough question to answer. It really is. It just depends on the tone that you want. And the beauty of both of those movies that have sequels that are somewhat tonally different is you get like two different variations of the same story, more or less, with the same characters in it. And I think that's really the beauty of both of those franchises, right? You want a slow burn that's a little bit eerie and creepy, you watch Alien. You want an action-packed sci-fi with aliens in it, you watch Aliens. But for me, T2 Judgment Day is like in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And as much as I love the first Terminator, T2 Judgment Day is just this movie that gives me everything I need. And it takes me to my happy place. But I will say this. I definitely think Aliens is far more watchable than Alien. So it's all preference. What do you guys think? Let me know. And by the way, thank you guys for all the happy birthdays in the comments. I'm reading them. I see them. And I thank you so much for it. I am seeing everything you guys are saying. And thank you guys so much for the happy birthday wishes. It does mean a lot, you know? When I was a stupid kid and I had like 3 friends, I never thought one day I'd get hundreds or thousands of birthday wishes on the internet. It's kind of a cool feeling. So thank you guys for that. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Doyle Status, who says, new 28 Years Later trailer is so good. I can't wait. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love how they're sort of opening up the universe and they're throwing a little bit more in there. And I can't wait to see it. I really can't. I like the cast. I thought the trailer was really good. It's one of my more anticipated movies of the summer. And plus, Danny Boyle is directing it, so you know you're going to get something a little bit different and not that standard Hollywood hogwash that they make us drink or they pour down our gullets. So I'm definitely looking forward to 28 Years Later. I just watched 28 Days Later, gosh, maybe a few months ago. My wife had never seen it. And I will say this about that movie. When you first start watching it, it's almost unsettling with the digital videotapes that they filmed it with. It was like very early digital video cassettes. And it looks like kind of shit. It looks a little bit shitty. The best way to describe it is it almost looks worse than a VHS movie. But I will say this. After you get acclimated to the way it looks in the first like 20 minutes, you sort of just become used to it. And it almost gives the movie like a different flavor. And I sort of appreciated it for that. Okay, the next one comes from Alex Ryan. How's it going, Alex? Here it goes. Sup, John? Have you seen the movie Hundreds of Beavers? Also, they're making Dungeon Crawler Carl book series into a show and Seth MacFarlane is involved. I have no clue what that is. And also, I have not watched Hundreds of Beavers. I've heard good things about it. I've heard some people praise it. I watched the trailer and I just I don't know. I feel like I got to be in a very particular mindset to sit down and enjoy that movie for what it is. I didn't watch it. I'm not saying I won't, but I just feel like it's going to take a certain time of the day to sit down and enjoy that movie. I could be completely wrong, but it just looks so bizarre and different that I don't know. I'll save it for a rainy day one day. Here it goes. Okay. Alex Ryan says, yeah, drunk and stoned would help. Yeah, probably. I'll huff some glue before I watch it. All right, the next one comes from InHomes25, who says, John, I was able to watch Magazine Dreams, and it was so good. Jonathan Majors puts on a hell of a performance, so you're my number one fan, huh? Yeah, so, hey, listen, man, if you want to come by the set and hang out sometime, you can. Yeah, Magazine Dreams, and speaking of unsettling movies, Magazine Dreams definitely had a edge of your seat, everything that can go wrong does go wrong vibe, and I quite enjoyed it. It definitely gives you some anxiety when you watch it, and yeah, it's a good time. I loved the movie. So you're my number one fan, huh? Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, definitely check it out, just for that. I won't spoil anything. But just be careful when you meet your heroes. InHomes25 also says, happy birthday, John. You have the same birthday as my nephew. Well, happy birthday to your nephew. All right. By the way, my birthday is tomorrow, and my birthday is actually April 19th. So I figured we'd hang out until midnight, and, then it would technically be my birthday. But tomorrow I'm a bit busy, but I wanted to hang out with you guys, so here we are. All right, Skylar Wheelock back again says, choose your sensei. Mr. Miyagi, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, John Kreese, or Master Splinter. That's a tough one. That is a tough one, right? Like, I would love to be trained by a mutated rat in a sewer. I definitely would. I think there's a lot I could learn from that experience. I really do. Chuck Norris, though, could empower me to be a god amongst men. That would be phenomenal as well. John Kreese, I'm good. I don't need it. I don't like his training style or his tactics. Why? Because Vietnam. That's why. And then you have Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, okay, not bad. Jackie Chan would be pretty cool. It seems like a likable dude. I've always enjoyed Jackie Chan. Bruce Lee, though, that would be something that would be the most iconic one out of the entire lineup. I almost want to go Master Splinter. I know that's crazy. You know what? I'm going to go Bruce Lee. I'm going Bruce Lee. To say that you were trained by Bruce Lee, first of all, we'd have to resurrect him, but we'd also have to resurrect Mr. Miyagi, wouldn't we? And technically speaking, John Kreese's character is dead now, isn't he? So I'll go with Bruce Lee. Robert Giachinta says, "Happy birthday, John. Buy some baby oil, my treat. Just got out of Sinners, good movie, but could have done without singing and dancing vampires." I think that added a little bit of flavor to it. I really do. I didn't mind that. You know, I just think I think it needed another antagonist in the lineup that was a bit more of a threat. That's just my take on it. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. And thank you for the birthday wishes. I will, in fact, buy some baby oil with that. So thank you, man. GF Hostman says Master Kenobi. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if I have the metachlorians to be trained by Master Kenobi, so I think I'd be out of luck on that. And then again, if I was trained to be a Jedi at a young age, I would probably do what Anakin did and just lose my shit and slaughter a whole bunch of kids one day and then turn to the dark side, just putting it out there. GF Hostman says, thoughts on the Batman 1966 show. I watched the movie that was based on the 1960s Batman show quite often, the Batman movie. And I always wanted shark repellent as a kid. For some reason, I just thought that would be so useful. And some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Robin? I liked the show. I always thought it was weird and zany as a kid, and I still enjoy it every so often. So those are my thoughts on it. I mean, it's corny as shit, but you gotta appreciate it. Manuel says, I liked the music in it. Music in what? What did you like the music in? Let me know. The music in the Batman show, that it sounds like surfer music. I liked it. LaRusso or Lawrence? I would honestly rather be trained by Johnny Lawrence. I really would. He just seems like a more likable dude to hang out with. Oh, Sinners? I liked the music in Sinners. I thought it was like a really good blend of like blues music and it also, as the movie progressed, the movie Sinners had sort of it almost had like a 1980s vibe to it relating to the antagonist of the movie. It switched gears just a little bit. And it even had like a slight Lost Boys vibe. Did anyone else pick up on that, or am I the only one? Yeah, I like the music in Sinners. I mean, if you're going to make a movie in 1932 that takes place in Mississippi, it feels like the authentic tone of music for the movie. All right, the next one comes from, let's see here. Here we go. All right, Skylar Wheelock once again says, if you became the leader of America, what is the first thing you would do? What's the first thing I would do? I would probably get rid of daylight savings time and I would eliminate the IRS. Just putting it out there. Two things I don't think we need right now. I would lower the price of eggs. Bruce Cook says, did shark repellent help you with the shark attack in your mom's swimming pool? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But making that video got me 2 million views somehow, some way. So if you want to go viral, just take a plastic shark and play in a swimming pool with it and make the shittiest video you've ever made. It's crazy. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, the next one comes from, and I'm checking out the normal chat right here. So if I have any YouTube members in here, please chime in right now. Someone said the twist to The Wizard of Oz was bad. Social Native says, The Wizard of Oz, the Oz was just an old dude. Well, yeah, that was the twist. What a letdown, right? McConnell says, John's magnum opus, Jaws video. Yeah, pretty much. I would agree with that. All right. The next one comes from... And by the way, I'm checking out the normal chat right now. If you guys want to chime in, I'm reading everything that you guys put in front of me right now. Get them in. I'm waiting. I'm willing. I'm ready. This one says... Oh, someone asked about the new Toy Story movie. Yeah, I just shared something today on Twitter or X about that. And I guess the story might heavily revolve around the character of Jessie, which is probably the least interesting character in all of the Toy Story franchise. I just always found her annoying and I didn't care. Like if Andy would have taken the toy of Jessie and just ripped her head off and threw her in the trash can, I'd be like, that's fine. I can live with that. That's cool. But yeah, I'm hoping we don't get too much Jessie in the new movie. Then again, maybe they'll do something crazy with her character. Who knows? The next one comes from, come on here. Oh, here we go. Bob the Healer says, happy birthday. Do you have a favorite past birthday memory? That's a good question. Let me think for that. Give me 1 second. Favorite past birthday memory. I'll tell you. Okay, I'm going to give you a good one, and then I'm going to give you a bad one. Okay, here's. I do remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old. My mom invited everyone from I think it was my preschool class. Or maybe it was first grade. I think we invited everyone from first grade to come to our house, and it was an awesome birthday party. I won't ever forget it. We played Pin the Tail on the Donkey, but most importantly, I had a crush on like 2 different girls in first grade, and both of them came to my birthday party, and it was the most thrilling, visceral day of my young life. And I don't remember what they got me, but I remember them both giving me hugs, and I just thought this is as good as life will ever get. And then you open up your birthday present and you get like the brand new Super Soaker gun. And as a kid, getting that pressurized plastic gun that could just spray water 58 feet into the sky, nothing made you feel more badass than that. So that was a pretty magical childhood birthday party. And then I'll tell you one that wasn't so good. I specifically remember this. For some reason, I was just sort of depressed around this time. But it was back in it was my birthday in 2018, right? And I lived in a town where I only knew one person. And and you can go watch this video on my YouTube channel. It was the night before my birthday, much like tonight. The night was sultry. And I remember making a movie review for Ready Player One. And then I went to bed at like 5 o'clock in the morning on my birthday. And I woke up around like 12 o'clock that afternoon. And I had nowhere to go. I had nothing to do. And I didn't really have anyone to hang out with that day. Because keep in mind, I lived in a town where I didn't really know anyone. And I remember just like thinking, man, should I even get out of bed? What am I going to do? So I think I just like laid in bed. I got out of it after like laying there for like 4 hours. And I remember just like watching a movie and ordering a pizza and spending my birthday alone. And it was sort of depressing, and I don't know. It was sort of a weird birthday for me. I think that was like the most depressing birthday I ever had. And don't get me wrong, people still texted me and my mom called me and it was cool, but nevertheless, I just remember that birthday vividly. But then again, on a positive note, this could be one of my best birthdays ever. I'm having a wrestling-themed birthday. My wife made a wrestling ring that we're putting cupcakes in. I'm having some friends over. We're watching Wrestlemania. So that's a good time. So life always comes in ebbs and flows, right? You don't appreciate the good times unless you have some of the bad times to compare it to. So that's my motto, and I hope that's some life advice for some sad someone out there watching right now. If today sucks, it doesn't mean tomorrow won't be better. All right, let's go to the next one here. Robert Giacinta says, worst restaurant experience. Whew, man, I've had a lot of bad restaurant experiences. And also, if you didn't know this about me, I might have a slight form of OCD, and I might be a slight germaphobe. So I'm very finicky, right? And I remember one time I went to a restaurant, and the waiter that we had, it was a nice restaurant, but the waiter that we had just sort of looked a little rough around the edges. And the way he would hold the plate was like his thumb would kind of go into your food, and it just really ruined the experience. So I remember not being able to eat mashed potatoes that day. But I'll tell you one in recent years that was sort of bad. And it's not even really a restaurant. It's just a place that you can pick up food connected to a gas station called Elmo's. And usually they have the best breakfast burritos you'll ever eat. They're a little bit junky and you kind of feel like trash when you eat them, but nevertheless, they always hit the spot. And a couple years ago, and keep in mind, I know it's connected to a gas station, so maybe I'm asking too much, but I went there for years without a problem. And a couple years ago, we went there for breakfast burritos, and as soon as I ate it, I felt a little bit off. And an hour later, I was puking up my guts in the bathroom, and it got so bad I had to utilize the bathtub for the overflow because the toilet was just not big enough to contain the vomit buckshot that was spreading all over the bathroom. So that was a pretty bad experience. I'm trying to think of another bad restaurant experience. I've had a lot. It always sucks when you find a hair in your food. It really does. Because when you say something about it, you're like, okay, are they going to go back and make new food? Or are they just going to take my food back there and take the hair out of it and heat it up in a microwave? So, yeah, that always ruins it too, doesn't it? All right, let's go to the next question here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock once again, man. You're the MVP of the night. Here it goes. Has there ever been a wrestler who's truly perfect in every aspect of pro wrestling in your opinion? Like no weak points at all? Man, well, I think when you go back to some of the iconic wrestlers of all time, like The Rock or Stone Cold, I mean, what they do best, they did better than anyone. And I think, for some of the things maybe they lacked in the ring, it didn't matter because their persona made up for it. Right now in wrestling, I think there's a few. I mean, I think Cody Rhodes is like a good white meat babyface good guy. And he's good in the ring. He cuts good promos. I like Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I'd go with that. I like me some Randy Orton. I think he's pretty good. And so, yeah, we'll go with those. I think that's a few to go off of. Plus, you got The Undertaker. You have I think characters like Kane from the Attitude Era going into the Ruthless Aggression Era in the early 2000s was like pure perfection of a character until he took his mask off, and that sort of tainted everything. Let's go to this one here. Okay. Bruce, we'll answer this one. Okay. The movie guy says, hey, John, Do you think theaters will exist in 10 years, or will it all be streaming services by that point? I think theaters will sadly disappear. No. I think we're always going to have theaters, and I think it's going to be more of a niche at some point. But also, I feel like theaters, at some point, they're really going to have to justify putting on your pants to leave your house to watch a movie. And I think what that means is, I think all theaters should have reclining seats. I think the theater experience should be top notch. And I think at some point, one of the theater chains are going to pull their head out of their ass and really make this experience truly immersive. Now, there's some bad ideas floating around from people who shouldn't be in charge of anything creative. And some of these ideas, like the new Megan, like they're going to re-release Megan, but what they want to do is put an app on your phone to where you can scroll on your phone and look at extra features of the movie where it's interactive with what you're watching on the screen. And that's the complete opposite of what the theater industry should be doing. We should have it to a point like the Alamo Drafthouse, where there's no phones, there's no talking, there's no disruptions. That way, when you decide to go see a movie and you pay your hard-earned money, you know you're going to have an immersive, untainted experience at the theater. And for me, as a dude who goes to see 1 or 2 movies a week at the theater, it's a 50-50. It can either be a good experience, or I can go into the theater and there's a whole bunch of people talking and screaming with babies, which, by the way, what movie was it that someone brought a baby to just a few weeks ago? It was a horror. Oh, the Lady in the Yard. Someone brought their infant child to that movie. And now that kid probably he's going to grow up to be deaf because the movie's so damn loud and he has little baby eardrums. That's just terrible parenting. So what I would like to see is one theater chain say, hey, we're going to make it to where we have somebody in the theater where if you talk, you text, you're out of the theater. There's no crying babies. And also I want the theater, and from a technical aspect, I just think the when you watch something up on the big screen, it should look better than your OLED TV that you have in your living room. And sometimes you get like a flickering dull projector. You get a screen that has like dirt and scuffs on it. You have like a rattling speaker. And I just want a theater chain to be a bit more particular and on top of it. And by the way, whenever you go to the theater now, if there's an issue, there's no one to talk to. You can't find anyone in the theater to talk to. It's some 12-year-old kid behind the counter, and he doesn't know what's going on. So I think if the theater industry can figure out how to perfect the theater going experience, I think there's always going to be a movie theater that exists somewhere that you can watch movies at. And plus, the thing about theaters, and the thing that I feel like the studio system is still not figuring it out yet, even though they're greedy corporate sons of bitches and they want every shekel they can get. Releasing every movie straight to streaming, I don't think long-term is going to be profitable. I really don't. I think studios will start losing more money that way than releasing them to theaters, where you get this buzz and hype and it feels like this is a real movie because it went to theaters. If everything goes to streaming, guess what? The standards start to lower and lower and lower, and everything just feels like a Netflix movie eventually. And then we don't give a shit about movies, and thus the movie industry dies and all film is gone. So, did I answer your question? I don't know if I did. Just make popcorn cheaper. All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one, let me take a drink of this delicious caffeinated beverage. TJ McIntyre, how's it going? Says, I thought the same of Everybody Wants Some. For 7 years, I rewatched it last year and fell in love. I've never been more wrong about a movie. Everybody Wants Some. Why can I not picture that? Everybody Wants Some. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting the title of that movie. Maybe it's just a bad title. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, I'll have to go back and check it out at some point, man. I will. I've never seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I know. But I did read, I think I read the book. It's like a 12-page book, isn't it? Social Native says, John, should movie stars do a tour to movie theaters across the country, like 10 movie theaters, to make the theater experience better? Well, typically they do that at like film festivals. They'll show up. But I guess so. But keep in mind, you'd only see those actors in Chicago, New York, L.A., and in the major markets of the movie. Oh, and by the way, I have a quick question for you guys. Is anyone going to that Fandango early fan screening of the Thunderbolts next Tuesday? Is anyone going to that? And specifically, is anyone going to the Chicago screening of the Thunderbolts, the early fan screening that is now sold out this upcoming Tuesday in Chicago? Is anyone going to that? I have tickets to go. Chicago is 3 hours away from me, and I've heard it's first come, first serve. So let me know if you guys are going to that. Please do. Somebody watching right now has to be going to it. Yeah, let me know down below. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to make the drive. There might be a press screening a week later, but man, I do want to see it early as possible. Happy birthday, John. When is the 4K collection video coming? I'll do it when I have some downtime. Right now, I have a Sinners review coming. It's my birthday. We have Thunderbolts coming out. I have a couple other videos. So I'll do a 4K collection video. I will do it, I promise. It's on the to-do list, but it is coming. Social Native says, only movie you should take your baby to is Boss Baby. Not even that. The only movie you should take your child to is, I don't know, Magazine Dreams. Don't do that. Jeff Hostman says, I think movie stores should make a comeback. Like video rental stores, but the thing is, would you actually go to one and rent a movie and then return it? I mean, I'll be honest. I would like to go into a video rental store, but I don't know if I'd necessarily rent a physical copy of a movie, because if I'm going to take the time to watch a physical copy of a movie, I will just buy the movie. But I definitely want that same experience. I don't know. There's got to be some kind of way you can open up a video rental store with other things to do in there that relates to movies and gives you some nostalgia. Dylan Hammerell says, zero interest in Thunderbolts. See, this actually looks like an MCU movie that looks a little more subdued and grounded, and I like that people aren't flying around in the movie. I like that it's not going to be super interconnected to 25 other movies. I sort of like a more low-key movie like this. But now you're sort of making me not want to drive 3 hours to Chicago to see it. Bruce Cook says, virtual reality movie store. Oh, trust me, if there was such a thing, I would put on the VR glasses and never leave it. Also, well, I guess they do have Blockbuster candles that you can buy, like scented Blockbuster candles that supposedly smell like Blockbuster. And they sort of just smell like fresh carpet. But really, the best way to get the Blockbuster smell is what you need to do is take like some plastic and burn it. That burning smell of hot plastic. That's what I always think about when I close my eyes and I picture Blockbuster. Joe Wagner says, hey John, for your birthday, Over the Top 4K has been announced. Yeah, I thought it was coming out soon though, so I don't know. I thought it was coming out like this Tuesday or last Tuesday somewhere. Dylan says, I'll 100% watch your review, but I'm not wasting 2 hours or more on MCU slop. Yeah, but as a dude who makes videos, those MCU slops get the views. But also, I do want a good MCU movie. That's all I'm hoping for. GF Hostman says, Hollywood Video, I remember had a huge gaming zone space back in the day. Oh, dude, I used to go to it all the time. Me and my friends lived in that section. That was Hollywood Video is truly underrated. That was a great video rental store. I would almost dare to say it's nowhere as iconic as Blockbuster, but it had its own vibe and tone. And if you're not familiar with Hollywood Video, Google it. But they had the video rental section, right? And then they had an entire separate section in the video store that was dedicated to video games and had like its own video game vibe. So it was a pretty cool place. The next one comes from the movie guy who says, "Hey John, what are your thoughts on Beetlejuice 3, the new Gremlins, and Goonies films?" Hey, I'm looking forward to all three of them. Now, did I love the new Beetlejuice movie? No, but damn, you got to make a sequel to that, Beetlejuice, because what a wasted opportunity if you don't. I thought the last one, the story sort of was like, yeah, I didn't really care about the subplots. And outside of anything that didn't directly relate to Beetlejuice, I thought it was sort of lackluster. But hey, I will always check out a new Beetlejuice movie. The new Gremlins movie, I know nothing about. And as far as the new Goonies movie goes, I'm looking forward to it. Do they have the entire cast coming back to that? I haven't really looked into it yet, but I'm hoping like Corey Feldman and Sean... what's his name? Sean. What's the actor's name? Anyway, I hope he comes back. I'm sure they can get Data to come back. So I'm looking forward to it. Is Josh Brolin coming back either? I don't know. I just hope the original cast all make cameos in the movie. Even bring back Sloth. I don't know. All right. But I am looking forward to all three movies. Juan Dowd says, "Seth Rollins is my dude. What do you think of him?" I think he's a great in-ring performer. I think you can definitely show like he's kind of like wearing down a little bit. It looks like it hurts him to walk. I don't know. He's a revolutionary. He's a visionary. I like him. At one point, he was like one of my favorite wrestlers. But as of right now, I much prefer to see like Drew McIntyre or CM Punk. I'll tell you one of my favorite wrestlers working right now in WWE, and that's Jacob Fatu. Like that is one dude I love to watch wrestle. Like the things that guy can do, like the backflips, the moonsaults, he's a monster in the ring. And I like watching him because even though I know wrestling's, scripted and kayfabe is sort of dead, when he's being crazy in the ring, I buy what he's selling me. So Jacob Fatu is one of my favorites right now. Robert Giachanta says, "Ever hooked up with someone you weren't proud of?" Of course. That's called Tinder. Anyway. Yeah, yeah. We've all had rainy days of regret. Yeah, Sean Astin is who I'm thinking of. Thank you, Bruce Cook. Sean Astin. I forgot his name. Carla says Hollywood Video was a fun experience. Yeah, it was. I mean, any rental store was a good experience. Big Don says, "Isn't there a Running Man remake happening this year?" Yeah, it stars Glenn Powell, and it's more closely in the same tone of the actual novel that the Arnold version was based on. But I think if you have Glenn Powell, and it's also directed by Edgar Wright, so we're going to get like this visually fun, high energy movie, and I'm looking forward to it because when it comes to the Running Man, the concept's really intriguing. And I almost feel like when you have that same concept of everyone watching people fight for their lives, and it's like this TV show, I feel like it almost makes more sense now than it did when they made the original Running Man back in the 1980s. So I'm just hoping Glenn Powell still wears a bright, shiny yellow spandex suit, though. But yeah, they're making that movie. I think it comes out... does it come out later this year, like October or something like that? I think it comes out this fall. Or is it next year? But yeah, we'll probably see some trailers for it this summer. What do you think? Captain says, what do you think of the Toxic Avengers remake? Toxic Avenger remake, the one with Peter Dinklage? It could be interesting. It definitely looks crazy. Yeah, I'm interested in checking it out. I've only seen the Toxic Avenger movie, or did they make a sequel to it? I'm sure I've seen both of them. And I remember renting those from a little crappy video store as a kid called Video Stop that existed right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was a mom and pop video store. And you know what? I called it crappy. I take that back. It wasn't crappy. It was a cool little video store, but it was very small and had such a limited selection of movies. But my grandfather and my grandmother would always take me there because it was right beside the grocery store and it was super convenient. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Doesn't that come out soon, or is it coming out later this summer? And actually, on a side note, I just got a early press screener link to watch the new Nicolas Cage movie, The Surfer. On a side note, doesn't necessarily relate to anything, but I am looking forward to watching that very soon. So as soon as I watch the new Nicolas Cage flick, The Surfer, I will put out a video for that. I'm very much looking forward to it. Laundry Basket says, Laundry Basket, that's a damn, I hate doing laundry. Anyway, John, would you rather have an over-the-top sequel with Stallone or a good Point Break remake? Ooh. You know what? I'll say this. I feel like we got everything Stallone had to give in a movie about arm wrestling made in 1987. So I feel like I'm good on that. We will always have over the top. And no matter how hard they try to duplicate it, I just don't think they can do it. Though then again, with all the slap competitions that exist nowadays, I think that could be a movie one day. Imagine like a slap competition, but in the same tone of over the top. You know what? Hollywood, if you're listening right now, I'll make that movie for you. And maybe we can have it star Stallone. I don't care. But anyway, I would definitely rather have a new incarnation of Point Break. And I'm not saying it'll be better, but damn it, it can't be worse than the 2015 remake. And maybe it can be... What I would like to see is Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun Maverick and is directing the new upcoming F1 movie. If he could direct a Point Break remake, I feel like that's the right director for the job. You get the entire team that directed movies like Top Gun Maverick, and you give them a Point Break remake script with a stellar cast. I think that would be a damn good movie. I really do. Did you watch the Him trailer? I have not. I do want to check it out. Isn't that based on, is that football? Is that about a football player or something? I have heard of that. Maybe I did see the trailer. I remember thinking it looked interesting. Blu-ray Addict says Netflix is making a Cujo remake. Yeah. A giant dog attacks people. Let's make another movie about that. Hey, maybe it'll be okay, but then again... If it was like an A24 movie, I'd be like, okay, that might work. That might be something different. All right, the next one comes from the movie guy who says, I know you enjoy Time Pierce films. Have you ever watched The Current War? I think you'd like it. The Current War? What the fuck is that? The Current War. Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse, the greatest inventors of the industrial age, engage in a battle of technology and ideas that will determine whose electrical system will power the new century. It's got a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. I've not watched it though. It's on Netflix. Wait a minute. Wait. Benedict Cumberbatch is in this, and Tom Holland. Dude, I think I started this one day and I got like 10 minutes into it and I did not finish it. But it's not looking very good. Maybe I'll watch a trailer and see if it gets the juices flowing. All right, we got 2 minutes until it's technically my birthday. So I'm going to get ready with my party popper here. Oh, I'm ready, baby. Soon as midnight hits, we're going to celebrate together. All right. And I'll officially be 38 years old. Time is flying. Enjoy your youth. That's all I have to say to you guys. The movie guy also says, hear me out. I think Glenn Powell could be a good James Bond. What do you think? I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think you always need someone with an accent to play James Bond. You need someone with a slight British accent to play James Bond, or else it doesn't feel right. You know, if it's Henry Cavill or Aaron Johnston or whoever, Tom Hardy, I don't care. Just, I feel like it's only appropriate. I really do. I like me some Glenn Powell, but I don't know about James Bond, man. He could play like somebody in the James Bond universe as like another spy, like 0013 and a half or something, but James Bond, I don't know about that. All right. God, what is it? Almost 12? I'm waiting for my computer to switch. Social Native says, best things coming out this year is Stranger Things Season 5. That is my most anticipated TV show of all time. Stranger Things Season 5, I cannot wait until this fall. I need it right now. Give me it. I love Season 4. And Stranger Things probably is in my top 3 series of all times. So definitely looking forward to Stranger Things Season 5. Are you guys looking forward to it? I want to know who lives and who dies. I don't know. It gives me the feels. They need to hurry up. These kids are 37 years old now. All right. Hey, look, it's my birthday. Let's celebrate. Where's my kazoo? Where's my kazoo at? Where's it at? Oh, here it is. You guys ready? Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. Well, that felt good. Was that the saddest thing you've ever seen on YouTube? I hope it was. Yeah, thank you guys for the happy birthday wishes. Thank you guys. We got Alfredo, we got Hayden, we got Peter, we got Novasonic, we got Big Don, we got Jeff Hostman, we got Carla, we got Hayden, we got Danny, we got Nathan, we got everybody. We got all of you right here, right now. I'll make a wish. Okay, I made it. And do you guys want to know what my happy thought was? It was all of you. Yeah, 38 years old. Well, I'm glad we could celebrate it together. So thank you guys so much for that. Feels good. Feels good. It almost feels magical and mystical. So thank you guys for witnessing my decaying body. Another year has passed and a new beginning has started. And I'm glad we can all experience it together right now, here and now. 3 ice cubes, no more, no less. Thank you guys for that. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. You guys are killing it in the live chat. Thank you guys. Look at all these birthday emojis. I got birthday cakes. I got candles. I got balloons. You guys are too good to me. Thank you guys so much. All right. Let's keep going here. You guys don't want to hear me just thank you all night. Come on. Robert Giachanta says, who would you cast in a Point Break movie? At one point, I thought Chris Hemsworth would make a really good Bodhi. And at one point, I thought someone like Jake Gyllenhaal would make a good Johnny Utah. But now I'm not quite sure. You might have to go slightly younger than that. Man, I'd have to really think on that. I don't have that off the top of my head. But maybe 5-6 years ago, I think those would have been 2 good casting choices. But I'd have to do some soul searching. Who would make a good Johnny Utah and a good Bodhi? I don't know. It's hard to replace Keanu Reeves and Swayze. But then again, here's what I'd really do with it. I wouldn't necessarily recast them, and I wouldn't necessarily make a remake of Point Break. I would make a continuation, and Johnny Utah can have a role in this movie. He can play himself. He can play an older Johnny Utah, and maybe he can kind of, I don't know, mentor this new FBI agent or something. You can completely recast it. So maybe some 20-something-year-old actor in Hollywood right now. I'm not quite sure who that would be. I'd have to really look at a lineup of actors. And I think having Bodhi be maybe someone like in his late 30s would be good. But like Hemsworth would be good. I could buy Hemsworth in the role. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Chris Pine could be a good Bodhi. Sure. Balloon Raccoon says, we're all with you on your big day. Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you, guys. Tripler3 says, would you be Crispin Glover in River's Edge, and would Crazy Jason be the guy who killed his girlfriend? Absolutely, it would be. But I'm a real friend. I will help you. I will help you run away from the cops and hide out. Man, we can't go over there, man. It's just like, you know. If you haven't seen River's Edge, watch it just for Crispin Glover's performance alone. It's the kookiest shit you'll ever seen. It's a good, weird, dark movie. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, says, you want a video store fully stocked with a new house. You have one choice, built a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or Family Video. What is your choice? Listen, I would probably, if I could pick any three of those video rental store franchises, I'd probably go with Blockbuster because it's the most iconic, but also I enjoy the color scheme the most. Like the blue and yellow, it just looks clean and crisp, and that's what I want. So I'm going to go Blockbuster Video, baby. T600 Tiny Todd, that name never gets old to me, man. Happy birthday, John. Your foster parents are dead. How's Woofy? I can hear him barking. Your foster parents are dead. Great, great line. Yeah, thank you for that. And Space Case, thanks for the super chat. No question, but thank you so much for the jumping emoji, Space Case. Thank you for that. Manuel says Danny DeVito. I think Danny DeVito would make a great Bodhi. Could you imagine Danny DeVito jumping out of a plane and surfing and robbing banks? I don't know. GF Hostman says, I think Keanu Reeves almost got the part of Bender in Breakfast Club. I could see that. I really could. I love John Bender in Breakfast Club. You know what my old man got me for Christmas? A pack of smokes. Here you go, Johnny. Smoke up. I love it. I love it. River's Edge was great. Yeah, it's a good movie. I've only watched it once, though, so. All right. And the chat, let me refresh this bad boy because it's freezing up. Here we go. Social Native says, John, all you have to do is buy those movie shelves from Blockbuster and make your own Blockbuster in your garage. Yeah, but my garage is filled with lawn equipment and Ryobi tools. I don't have any room. If I did have the room, and one day if I buy a bigger house, I assure you I will have sort of a Blockbuster movie setup behind me for my videos. And I will buy 500 VHS movies to put on those shelves. I really will when I have the space. But for right now, this will have to do. And by the way, do you guys like the strobe lights back there? I bought these for my birthday because once again, I'm having sort of like a Wrestlemania themed birthday. And I'm putting these out throughout my house just because it's all about the ambiance. But I kind of like these in the background for live streams. You guys like the lights back there? Kind of feels like a techno club or something. I don't know. Big Don says, back in the day in my town, the Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were right across the street from one another. The competition was fierce. I know, now they're both 6 feet under in the grave. Weird, isn't it? All right. The next question comes from GF Hostman. Invite me to your birthday party. You're at my birthday party right now, man. It's the best I can do. But yeah, I'm only having a couple close friends over for my birthday party. I only have like 3 real life friends. It's kind of weird and sad, but you know what? It's fine. It works. But if I had the space and the time, I would do it, man. I really would. But this is the best I can do. Is I figured we could hang out right here, right now. And hey, I'm not gonna pop off 10 of these tomorrow night. No. You guys got the party poppers. Nobody else. All right, the next one comes from the movie guy once again, who says, "Have you ever seen Inner Space? It's an old Dennis Quaid film that I highly recommend." Inner Space. I've seen Inner Space. No, from 1987. I've never seen Inner Space. I've never seen it. I've heard of it. I've never watched it. The poster looks cool. I see Meg Ryan back there. Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid, the parents of Jack Quaid. I wonder if this is the movie they met on. I've never seen Inner Space, but I like the poster for it. It looks pretty cool. Very 1980s. Google the Inner Space poster. It looks pretty cool. Never seen it. All right. John B says, yes, I like the lights. Novasonic says, yeah. Meccano says, it works. Big Don says, fire. Party lights at Flick Pick House. Thanks, man. Yeah, Inner Space is awesome. Maybe I'll check it out. I have not seen it. So, but yeah, thanks for the feedback on the lights. I might just do this from now on. Yeah, I like it. It kind of looks classy and cool. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions. My plan was to sort of celebrate my birthday with you guys and then immediately go take a shower and watch SmackDown on tonight and sort of just relax with my wife. So if you guys have any more questions, please get them in now. I will answer them. We've been talking for over 2 hours now, and it's been a damn good time. So I want to thank all of you for joining me thus far. Alfredo says, lights are dope. Looks like a sci-fi movie. Sci-fi movie in a techno nightclub. Social Native says, what's your wife making to eat at your party tomorrow? Oh, man. My wife is a party planner. She loves this shit. So first of all, I'll show you this right now. I'll give you a little glimpse into my life. My wife made a wrestling ring for my birthday. Made it. Just made it. Hang on. Look at that. You can kind of see it right there a little bit. Like, she made that out of like hot glue and like makeup things for the ring post. It's really cool. But I'm having, well, first of all, it's Wrestlemania, right? So I'm going to have some pizzas. We're going to have some hot wings, and we're having themed snacks like RKO Oreos, CM Punch. It's going to have some like vodka in it. We're having, what else are we having? Something, what else are we having? Oh, dude, I don't remember. We're having other things that relate to wrestling. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. What else are we having? Oh, the hot wings, we have labels in front of them. The hot wings are called King of the Wings, like King of the Ring, for example. So shit like that. I'll take pictures of it and I'll share it on Instagram tomorrow. Put action figures on top of it. It would look cool. Well, my cupcakes will have little WWE action figures on them. I don't actually have any like 6-inch WWE action figures. And the weird thing is, when I was a kid back in like 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I had probably like 200 WWE action figures. I had every accessory. I had every ring. I had the cages. I had the tables that could break, the chairs, the wrestling belts. And I think I just like gave it all away to my cousins or sold them at garage sales. And I'm so mad I did that. So mad. DJ Run says, happy birthday and 6-month anniversary to us. Did you do anything for your 6th month? We unfroze our cake and ate it and went for a walk. Well, congrats on your 6-month anniversary of being married. Yeah, my 6-month anniversary was on April 12th. Both of us forgot about it. We remembered a few days later, but we didn't do anything. And as far as the old tradition of freezing your wedding cake and eating it later, I think we went to do that like a couple months ago, and it tasted like it tasted like ass. It tastes like freezer burnt cake. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. And thanks for the question. I hope you're doing well, man. And congrats on 6 months. Social Native says, Nova Sonic, I'm used to it. Laugh aloud, John gets a pass. Well, thanks. 22 Tiger Dude says, which superhero do you want to see sponsor pizza rolls? Homelander. We'll go with that. Bruce Cook says, Inner Space was Steven Spielberg film. What? Steven Spielberg directed Inner Space? Why do I not know that? It says director Joe Dante. Or no, are we talking about Inner Space? Am I looking at... Yeah, with Dennis Quaid? Inner Space, 1987. Joe Dante. Did Spielberg produce it, maybe? I don't know. Nova Sonic says, damn, he almost saw it. What am I looking for? What do I need to see? Tell me. I'm looking at the chat right now. Tell me right now in the normal chat. You tell me every week. What do you tell me every week? Tell me now. Carla says, what will you be doing for Easter? Actually, fun side. Well, what am I saying? Fun fact, I was actually born on Easter in 1987. But this year, Easter falls the day after my birthday. We're just going to the family's house to eat some Easter lunch and do nothing. But I will tell you this. It sucks getting older. I miss looking for Easter eggs. You find that loose, gross candy and some pocket change and an Easter egg. Oh, there's nothing better than looking for Easter eggs. Okay, Nova Sonic says, John, it's SoCal native like Southern California, not social native. Last try, haha. No, I'm going to call you Nova Sonic. I'm sorry. Oh, SoCal. Okay. I call you social. You're right. There's no I in social. Or there's no I in your name. It is SoCal native. But can we just, for old time's sake, keep calling you social native? I'll call you SoCal native. It's fine. So SoCal native, I'm sorry. When I read things, I only usually read the first few letters in every word because I like to talk fast and read fast. And sometimes I skip over things because I'm like, I don't need that information. I already have it. So maybe that's why. Maybe I'm slightly dyslexic. I don't know. So SoCal native, I'm sorry. Please forgive my sins against humanity.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. My wife wished me happy birthday. Yeah, remember, I can't read. Do you get chocolate bunnies? Chocolate bunnies are fine for Easter, but the little marshmallow chicks that you eat, utterly disgusting. They taste like sponges. Why would you eat that shit? I'm still calling you social native. I'm sorry. For old time's sake. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap up this live show. I do want to say thank you guys for all the birthday wishes. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for celebrating 38 years, of on this planet that we call Earth, whatever. But nevertheless, thank you guys for hanging out. And thanks for just, being here and talking about movies with me for a couple of hours. I really did enjoy it. It does mean the world to me. And I will say this. We will do another live stream in the next, I don't know, give me like early, mid next week. We'll do another live stream and we'll talk about everything else that's happening in the world of movies and whatnot. But nevertheless, thank you guys so much. thanks for hanging out, and stay safe. Have a great Easter. And if you're watching WrestleMania, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a good time. And if you've never watched wrestling, my recommendation to you is if you just want to let go and watch something that's just unapologetic and fun, but there's storytelling elements to it and action. It's almost like live action theater, but with more baby oil and muscles and chair shots. Watch WrestleMania this weekend. I think you'll enjoy it. I find it very therapeutic. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Have a good night. Have a good Easter. And I'll see you guys with a Sinners review tomorrow on the Flick Pick channel. And once again, if you missed the brand new Flick Pick video, or I'm sorry, the brand new Flick Trip video to Hollywood, that's on the Flick Pick channel. The link is down below. It's a great time. Check it out. Give it a like if you want. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.